why are you writing a book? Or in the case, why do you want to write a book? And I'm not wondering if you want to be a full time author, if you just want to write for fun, if it's a long time dream. I want to know the real reason behind why you want to write a book. What is the bigger purpose to everything? What is that meaning that it adds to your life? That fire that is so big that it just consumes you and you need to write this book. With anything in life that is worth having or worth completing, there are going to be hardships and challenges and really hard times in that journey. In order to push through and persevere and overcome that, you have to have a really strong purpose and a really strong why behind why you want to do something. Why do you want to write a book? Is it because you feel like you have something to say that the world needs to hear? Is it a career path that you feel authentically called to? Or does something about it align so deeply that anything else feels like just not even a possibility? Hi, I'm Lily. I'm on the journey of self publishing my first book. I love to share my mindset and my process and just like documenting the entire journey. For most people, and myself included, motivation is one of the hardest things when it comes to writing because it is such a long process. There's all these tricks and tips out there on how to stay motivated when writing your book, like building habits, making a consistent writing routine, um, getting through writer's block by word sprints. These different strategies are great to patch up a bad day, but how do you stay really motivated when those don't work? There's so many limiting beliefs that a lot of people experience, and not only myself, but a lot of other writers that I've connected with online, where we all feel like we're an imposter. Maybe we're just not good at writing, that no one's going to love our book. When we're overwhelmed with all of these really negative emotions, it's that purpose of why we are writing a book that gets us through that. I've been working on my debut novel for over a year and a half, and I am planning on publishing it in 2025. I am self publishing. The only way for it to get to this point was for me to have such a strong driving force that there was no other option than for me to continue writing this book. What's your why? Why do you care about writing a book? What is the purpose behind why you are writing this book? And I want to share my purpose and my why behind writing a book because hopefully it can help you find some introspection on how you feel and why you feel this purpose. I first want to talk about how it's going to affect other people or what I can bring to the world. Whenever we're pursuing like a business or creative endeavor, it's it's a collaboration of energy where we're giving something to someone and we're also receiving something. There's always those books or movies that just stick with you in a way that you can't even describe. It's something that is kind of intangible and you can't really explain it in words, whether it's the feeling or the lesson or the way we resonate with it. It just adds so much meaning and life to ourselves. I feel like a really good example of this is Harry Potter. When I was a kid, there was something about watching Harry Potter that always felt like home to me. And it actually was the series that I started reading when I was in like third grade. And that's what started my obsession with writing books. It was kind of like that inspiration. I think about how stories can bring people together and how it can connect us across so many different paths and how it's a home waiting for us where it brings up this emotion and it inspires us and it makes us feel like we can do anything and be anything, and it helps us reflect on the world and all these amazing things. And there's also other books that I've read, like different memoirs and different like stories and movies that I've sat back and I've thought about life and it's stuck with me. Whenever I'm reading back my story or thinking about this, I'm thinking about how this can help other people and how it can stick with them. Like how I can bring magic to other people's lives and bring that fire and excitement and inspiration, whether it's a good time, a laugh, a smile, whether they cry, whether they think about life in a different way, whether they're obsessed. There's so many things that we can all take from a story. Me putting a story out into the world is one of the best ways to bring energy to the world, and it's a way that I found is a really good way of giving back to the world. I think about all the people that can become inspired and come back into reading and think about life differently, and just it's really exciting to think about how my book could connect with people in the future, and that's something that really keeps me going. Another part is that I am a really picky reader, and this is something that has been really hard for me to find books that I really enjoy and feel aligned with. There's like a gap in the literature world where people like me aren't finding books that we really connect with. And maybe I just haven't found them, but I decided to write them instead. I don't really know how to explain this because I just feel like there's something that I'm missing in books a lot, so I decided to write it, and I know that if I'm out there, there are other people out there that are also missing this thing in books. If I can bring stories to new groups of people, maybe it's not that we don't like reading, it's that we haven't found our niche. We haven't found our small group of people that really enjoy the types of stories that we like. I do think there's a group of people out there like me that haven't really found what they love, or at least what they love isn't very commercial and it's really hard to find. So, by putting more stories out that I connect with, I'm really excited to see if other people are like, yes, like I finally found something that I really, really connect with. Also, now that I've been sharing my writing journey and everything like that, a big purpose for me is showing people that they can do what they set their heart to and what they dream of, and that it's possible. Now that I've been sharing my journey about writing my book online for a little while, I'm just a random person that loves writing and I have this passion for it, and I am just putting action in and just going after it because that is showing people that they can do it too. And I think now my writing has become more than just me enjoying writing, and it's become a way to inspire and motivate people and to show them that it's possible to do things that kind of seem impossible. It also holds me accountable in a lot of ways where I have people asking me about my book coming out, and I have people telling me that they started writing because they saw something that I posted. And that just holds so much weight for me because I got back into writing seeing the writing community online, where I completely forgot that this was even a thing that people did until I saw people on social media documenting writing books. And then I was like, wait, if they're doing that, I can do that. So that's why I want to be that for other people as well. So whenever I'm feeling like unmotivated or like sluggish, or I don't want to do anything, I think about all the people that are looking to me on this path of like seeing me writing this book. And I'm like, I'm doing this for such a bigger purpose than just me. I want to prove that I can do it. Like, I want to prove that we can do it, where you can have a mindset and you can just go for it and then it can happen. Okay, so now turning it back on the reasons for why personally I want to write a book. For a long time, I always knew I wanted to do something creative and independent, and I'm talking more career based. I know some people like to write books for their hobby, but for me, I see this as a building career for myself and a business, and a self employed business at that. And I think about everything that I've envisioned for myself when I was younger, when I was in college and around like the pandemic. I really knew that I wanted to do something independent, free of my own time, flexible, creative, authentic to how I am, and something that just felt aligned to who I was as a person. And I tried so many different paths. It wasn't working. When I'm having these like really hard times and these limiting beliefs, I think about what I want my future to look like and how I picture my day to day. And I think of if I just like forgot about writing books and I just gave up, I would have to choose a different career path. And I've gotten to the point where I am so convinced that this is my career and I'm so aligned with everything I do. And it feels so meaningful in so many ways that if I were to just give up and then be like, whatever, it's too hard, or oh, I'm not making as much money as I feel like, so I need to just like quit altogether. I can't picture myself like living a different life. I can't. And I even like sometimes I'll have those like limiting beliefs where I'll be like, oh, just like I'm just gonna get a regular job and just like whatever. And I'll go on Indeed and I'll just look up jobs. And within the first 30 seconds, I'm immediately like, nope, nope, can't do it. And I shut my computer. There's a reason why like I can't do that. It's because it's so unaligned with my life force right now. And it's so hard because to stay so consistent on this path of writing books and pursuing this career path, it's really difficult to stay focused and grounded because there are so many unknowns and so many things that I can't predict and I can't guarantee for myself. But the one thing that I can guarantee is that this is my calling. I literally feel like it's my calling. One of the big reasons why I want to self publish is because I've always seen myself as an entrepreneur and as someone who is self employed and my own boss. I'm very disciplined. I'm very action oriented. I'm very ambitious. And I think this career path, when I saw people self publishing and making careers out of writing books and marketing it and doing business and doing sales and all this stuff, I was immediately like, yes, because I've wanted to run a business for a long time, but I could not think of a product or a service or something that felt really aligned to me. Now that I'm writing books, I am so excited to start selling my books because I know how much work and time and energy I've put into my books. And I'm so proud of them that I know that, like, when I start selling them and when I start making this a business model, I feel so aligned with that. I have this vision for myself, I have this goal, and that is my why. Another big part of my why is how I feel when I'm writing and how I feel after I'm writing and how I feel before I write. Those moments of when I'm writing and when I'm in the zone and when I'm listening to music and I just have that flow come to me and I just write and write and write and write. And it's just so magical. And that feeling, it brings me back to being a kid. It really does. Like, I feel like I'm a child again and I'm 7 years old at my desk, like writing little books. And like, that's how I feel. It brings back color to the world. And I think about how beautiful that feeling is. And like, even when I'm out, like on the weekend and I'm like having a fun trip somewhere, I'm traveling, I'm always like, okay, like when's the next time I can write? Because that brings me so much joy. There are moments though where I don't feel that. And there are moments where I feel unmotivated and I feel stuck and I look at the page and I'm like, this is hard. But because I know that that is how I feel when I'm having those good days, my purpose is so much bigger than those bad days. Nothing in life is ever going to be perfect all the time. We're never going to enjoy everything the same way every single time. If I get through those bad days, the bigger purpose of everything is that I'm living a life that I genuinely am happy in. Another thing is that in this time of me trying to find a career path for myself, when it comes to like travel blogging and writing and all this stuff, there was a lot of um SEO involved. I don't know if you know about that if you're not in marketing, but it's basically like you have to write things in a certain way to get clicks. And it's kind of a certain way for the algorithm. And that's something that I've had a really hard time with because even in the writing world, like even in like fiction books, there is marketability and there is story structure and there are certain things that we should probably follow in order to be successful. But I do think about that in this field, in fiction writing, there is so much more freedom of expression and creativity and room for like your own voice. This is why I love writing so much is like I can have an idea in my brain and then just immediately write it. Like we are creators of an entire universe. Like that is so exciting. And whenever I'm having those like I'm feeling unmotivated moments, I have to remind myself of like how amazingly cool it is to do this as a hobby, a career, whatever. Like how amazing it is that we can just create stories and just say what we want. And there's no one telling us, like, and that's also one of the reasons why I want to self publish. I feel like writing books, besides like social media and like creating videos, is the most authentic way and most freeing way for me to express myself in the world as an artist, as a person. It comes back to the why. Why are we going through rounds and rounds and rounds of edits and kind of going insane trying to figure out like how to fix our work? How do we go through the fear of having people give us feedback and the fear of putting yourself out there and people potentially hating your book? And it's probably true. Some people are probably going to hate my book, and I've had to come to terms with that. But all of the negativity that comes with writing books and the hardship, it's the purpose and the meaning and the positivity is like 10 times more powerful. And that's what I always remind myself. You probably already know your why. And I think just remembering that and thinking about it and being like, this is why I am putting myself through this. This is why I am putting hours and years and even decades into this path without a guarantee because I know that my purpose and whatever this is so much bigger. Digging deep and looking at what does success look like for you? What does happiness look like for you? And how you can have that fuel you through all of life. I think that driving force that I've had has gotten me this far and it continues to propel me forward. It's really hard going down an unconventional path. There's a lot of times where it would be easier to kind of just like stop and like do something more conventional. But I've realized again and again that every time I get sidetracked or I give up or something kind of like has that feeling, my why and like my purpose just immediately like checks me. And I'm like, yep, nope, there's no other option. I have to keep going. I really hope that talking about this helped you gain some perspective. And if not, just like we were able to just like chat like friends. The writing community online has been absolutely amazing. And I want to hear your stories. Like, I want to hear, like, what's your why? Like, tell me in the comments, like, what's your why? Why? What's your big purpose? Like, what's the big meaning behind why you're doing this? Really wish you well in your projects. And I'm really excited to keep growing this community and meeting new people and just like talking and talking about writing because I love talking about writing. I don't know if you couldn't tell. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.